starting off with the potential debt ceiling standoff looming large over the State of the Union. This morning, according to ABC News, the federal debt of the U.S. might be rising. President Joe Biden delivers his State of the Union address tonight with new House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The management of how to increase the borrowing limit is shaping up to be the first major obstacle that McCarthy and Biden must work together to overcome. Biden and McCarthy agree that the nation cannot default on its debt, but with the Treasury already using extraordinary measures to keep the United States out of the red, that's about all they can agree on.
I mean, I'll tell you, Jake, when it comes to looking at current events, economics is not really my strong suit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no. It is a tough thing to follow. It's like, I feel like, and I think a lot of that is, to a degree, almost weirdly intentional. Like, I think like I don't know, some of the terminology around it, and the sort of mechanics of it can be very confusing. And it's like, I don't know.
And we've kind of been hearing for years now how like the United States is in trillions of dollars of debt already. So it is really interesting though to think about how President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have to, put their heads together regardless of how they identify politically to make sure this doesn't get out of hand too fast.
Right. Yeah. And it will be interesting to see like how that collaboration process will actually look, because they need to do something. It's going to look bad for both of them if it's just the same, deliberations ultimately leading nowhere. But yeah, no, who budges, who won't. It's hard to predict, and it's hard to say much else about it. New York City to end COVID vaccine mandate for city workers. Mayor Eric Adams announced New York City workers will no longer need to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 to be employed by the city. The mayor said that the vaccine mandate for city employees will end this Friday during a vote by the city's Department of Health. Adams said 96 of the city's workforce have received both shots, so the mandate for the current and prospective employees served its purpose. Thoughts? Do we think this is a good idea? Do you think
I mean, I think it's kind of reflective of what we reported a couple weeks ago. President Joe Biden said in May he's going to end the emergency context regarding COVID pandemic, and I think this falls into the same umbrella as that, because we're not at a point where like vaccines aren't available. They are available in large portions at many places around our communities.
Right.
And good that I think the story says that 96% of the workforce is vaccinated for COVID, right? And there was some, there was some pushback with that, especially in my hometown of Staten Island.
Really?
Around, I want to say October of 2021, the sanitation department of New York protested against this, in that they didn't pick up people's trash for about a week. People's garbage were piling up outside their houses, and
is protesting against lifting the vaccine mandates.
Yeah, they didn't want to get vaccinated, I guess. And
they didn't want to.
No.
A protest against the vaccine mandate itself. Yeah. Okay.
And the interesting thing is that during that time, there's like a portion of Staten Island that's like property of like the sanitation. That's like the sanitation site, and people went there and they protested for the sanitation workers by blocking the entrances for the trucks to pick up the garbage, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure how. That was kind of these people are saying, let these people work without getting vaccinated, but they also blocked the trucks from actually picking up people's trash for a little bit. After that, though, it was like they moved away and it was settled. But there was like I want to reiterate, like there was a lot of pushback, especially in my community of Staten Island.
No, it makes sense, especially like I understand if you have like views at odds with the mandate. I'm just wondering the effect this will have on the actual of course the amount of cases, the amount the impact. And I think that even though I think it's definitely the position that COVID has in our lives is definitely changing.
Mhm.
It's still like out there, right? Like I had to get a
Sure.
COVID test like last week.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's
tough to speak on like the immediate consequences of this because I don't even think numbers are being reported on as much.
yeah. But I think for the people who haven't gotten vaccinated for one reason or another,
Mhm.
I think it'll ease them a little bit because they don't have to worry about oh, should I get vaccinated
Yeah.
sometime or can I get vaccinated depending on my medical condition? So in that regard, like that, I guess that'll make a difference, and
Yeah.
that people who haven't gotten the vaccine don't have to worry about, I guess, doing it because uh, one of my old friends who goes to St. John's, he didn't get vaccinated, but he had to get tested twice a week for
Mm.
COVID. So whether that's going to change regarding this, we don't know. We're going to see, but
Yeah, I'm sure that will probably vary like, you know, case to case and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Thousands of temp workers in New Jersey will get new rights under law Murphy just signed. Temporary workers in New Jersey will soon receive sweeping new protections and rights under the Temp Workers Bill of Rights is the first kind in the U.S. and will benefit more than 127,000 essential temp workers in the Garden State. The legislation takes effect in 90 days. It will give temp workers in New Jersey the right to basic information in English and their native language about where they will be working, the pay rate, their schedule, and what kind of work they will be doing, and how much sick time they can get. Um, I'll just say that I think that like laws like this, honestly, it's kind of wild, like, because it's like cool that this is being implemented, but it's like, wait, was that not always a thing?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right. And why is it
was
taking
that
90 days to implement? So just
right?
start up.
Yeah, like was this not always like available? I guess like I could see a lot of these decisions being kind of left up to, individual companies to be
Mhm.
like, all right, yeah, tell them what you want. But like, I don't know. I think this information with any employee, regardless of um, how long they're being employed, is like pretty essential.
Yeah, but going off of what you said, Jake, it's uh it's good in case these people are maybe not from the United States or their families are not from the United States and that like their English is not their first language.
Mhm.
And to have those resources provided to them about how to learn it and how they bind together, in their work lives, I think that's really important for them. So like they can manage their stressful work if it's stressful, like work lives and home lives together if they have families, and make sure that it's like the law to make sure that basic stuff is protected, like their
Yeah,
rights and their resources.
yeah, absolutely. So much
Yeah.
of freedom has to do with freedom of information. So you have like, the ability to actually make choices about your life.
Yeah, yeah, and it depends on what kind of work they're doing too,
Mhm.
as the story read. So again, it's really interesting to think about how this kind of thing. I don't again like 90 days though. Why have to wait until what like
Right?
May?
Just say you have to do this now.
Yeah, like I mean,
Just
um,
do it or you're fired. I don't know.
I guess they need
If
time
you
to
want.
prepare.
I guess, but it's
Yeah.
like
Companies that haven't done this before need time to figure out how to do it.
No, of course. Yeah.
And like
yeah,
jumping off of that, like I think I feel very strongly about this
mm,
specific law. It's just like my mom, she does not speak English
Mhm.
at all, and she's been living in this country um a little longer than I've been alive. So like
mhm,
Yeah.
21, 22 years. She was never able to pick up English, and that's been one of the biggest reasons why she could never get a job here.
Mhm.
Just because most places, like to my surprise when I first like figured it out, was that a lot of companies don't actually offer, I guess, any help in terms of understanding certain jobs
mhm.
when you don't speak like English at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult for them to get a job outside of the very few categories where it's easy to find people that speak the same language as you. And it's a bit difficult to find a company that is going to pay you maybe more or pay you significantly better than another job because they're a bigger company or because they're more popular or have more of a budget in terms of getting employees, that you try to go to a company like that, and it's very difficult if you don't know the language. And I know, for example, like at my job, I work in retail, and we have a lot of older women who work at our job who just basically fold clothes for us and unpack boxes because that's really all they can do considering the language barrier. And I asked one of them once how it was like adjusting to that job, considering that they don't know any English or they learned very little from the job. And they said that at least at my company that they were fortunate enough to have people around them who could help them out and let them know what they needed to do, how much they were getting paid, what the hours were going to be without that language barrier. And I later found out that not every company is like that, and companies aren't even legally obligated to let them know this. And I was very surprised, actually, considering how big of a percentage in this country is people who are bilingual or even speak another language and don't speak English at all. I think that a lot of job positions that are difficult to be filled by English speakers could be filled by people who speak other languages but are still good at the job. If this was implemented in every single company, we could fill a lot of positions and get people to work jobs that maybe other people don't want to work, but there's people that want to and just can't. So
yeah, no, it's like an accessibility thing, and the option should be available to everyone.
Thank you for sharing that with me. That was really interesting.
Thanks.
Yeah, and like you said, it's really telling how companies aren't obligated. Like, it's not the law to provide what Governor Phil Murphy is doing for those types of workers. So we're gonna see in the coming months if maybe those companies will follow suit. If here in New Jersey, maybe they'll start doing it in other nearby states or maybe nationwide.
And how they follow suit.
Yeah.
Beyonce fans raising money for tour tickets. Quote, safer than selling my kidney. To be read by Aidan Ivers.
Okay. According to the NewYorkPost.com, after Beyonce's highly anticipated Renaissance World Tour was announced, fans have been buzzing about getting their hands on the sought-after tickets. She's setting out on her first stadium stretch in 5 years. She'll hit parts of Europe and UK first before beginning the US leg at Philadelphia's Lincoln Financial Field on July 12th. She'll be 10 miles from where we're sitting right now at MetLife Stadium on July 29th and 30th. Ticketmaster released a statement this week claiming that in some cities, pre-sale registration for Renaissance Tour tickets has exceeded, quote, the number of available tickets by more than 800%. Eager fans are already anticipating a jaw-dropping price tag to see her live, with some taking extreme measures to obtain quick cash. One man has already raised $265 of his $300 goal on GoFundMe, with countless others. Do you guys think concert tickets in the industry have been getting out of hand, getting out of control?
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Nah.
Let's just bring up the internet was talking about this for a while about the Taylor Swift concert tickets that were apparently $10,000. I don't remember the exact amount.
I think when you get into people reselling them, I think like from there it just inflates.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully when I was reading the story just now, probably back to the Taylor Swift situation with Ticketmaster. Remember how it's kind of the same. We haven't heard any stories of Ticketmaster crashing at all, but people have already they're already making plans to make these reservations, I guess, to get it however much money is possible.
Yeah, right. I really just can't recommend enough to like everyone I know, like find local acts, because like the whole like going to stadiums and seeing like I don't know, some celebrity, some like universal name, like I don't see the appeal. Like that's
I mean,
so
yeah.
much money.
I
Yes.
I
Sorry, I
no, you
took
go first. You go first.
one of my favorite artists of all time, Steven Sanchez. He's kind of been going a little big, not huge, but his song went viral on TikTok and now he's getting a little bit more traction. And his concert tickets are a reasonable price in my opinion. It's like
Right.
he's going on tour
Mhm.
like in a few months until like the end of this year. And his tickets are like for good seats, it's like $180, which that's
Well,
like
not bad.
a
Not
good
bad.
it's an investment, but it's
Yeah.
not as bad as 400 to apparently $10,000.
But like no, like
But
even that is like so much for a concert for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like
it's
you
still
could
a
get,
lot.
like
But
like for me, like I don't know, like I saw one of my favorite bands ever, Streetlight Manifesto, and it was like $30.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that trick?
That was at I somewhere in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
And like I don't know, maybe with like ticket pricing stuff, it might have been like 40 to 50ish range.
Yeah.
But like even that is like, and it was like an awesome show. In a like nice venue. And like I don't know, it's just like it's this weird like obsession with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the fact that people normalize spending that much money, like I don't know. And it's like, what are you getting in return for it? Because I feel like when I've been to
to a
stadium
point,
shows,
I understand
Yeah.
yeah,
because of like fees that they have to pay and all that. I guess I understand, but it also becomes just a bit too excessive.
And also, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something, Emo?
yeah, you can go for it.
Okay. Well, when we think about what people get out of these things, these artists are really famous and they have lots of monthly listeners that really, really paid attention to in society. And to be in the same space where this popular artist, you're seeing this well sought out artist with your own eyes instead of like on a screen or just imagining it. I think that's what people seek most, because that's just me. When I go to concerts, I'm like, wow, as these loud music is playing, I'm seeing my favorite artist or any artist for that matter with my own eyes. There's no like filter behind that or any screen. But at the same time, the after effects are, if you don't bring earplugs or whatever, people's ears and voices go bye-bye for a little bit.
That's just a general like thing with concerts.
They lose their-
they can mess up your ears.
Yeah. So
But like I don't know, maybe this is just like a very personal experience for me. But like as someone who has had the opportunity to go to stadium shows and see bands that like, I have, absolutely just like fawned over. Like I got to see My Chemical Romance, which is a band that like so many people like listen to, and I've like listened to like so much, and I love their music so much. But like you see them with your own eyes, and your own eyes are just like any other screen.
That's true. Yeah,
it's
that's
the
true.
same
Yeah, no,
thing.
that's true
It's
too.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Society.
I will. Here we go.
No. It's okay.
I will say, as a very active concert goer, it is. I don't know if concerts are life changing, and that as just in like not necessarily one defining concert has changed my life, but just being someone who goes for out of my way to go see live music, I feel like my life would not be the same if I didn't have, if I wasn't fortunate enough to go to as many shows as I do.
It's something that motivates you, right, Emil? Something that motivates you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I know Jake mentioned before, like something like this also proves like, hey, go to local shows if you want. And like even not just like in your hometown, but like just some of the smaller shows. I know tickets are significantly cheaper. But that being said, I saw a show a couple months ago at the Wilmot Theater in Montclair, and tickets were reasonably priced in my opinion. I want to say they were in like the 40-50 range. And that's fine, but then you get 2 tickets and then you have all these added fees from Ticketmaster, and then it ends up being even more expensive than before. And so if you're looking at $400 $10,000 tickets, I can't imagine what the tax is on that and what Ticketmaster takes out of that. And of course they still need to take money to operate. I don't really know what goes into that, but it's certainly getting excessive.
Sure.
And I know that obviously, again, we've mentioned Taylor Swift many times today, that because of that they've been trying to change their policies and try to save face. but I know, my mom and I were looking for Fall Out Boy tickets the other day, and it was frustrating because, they put a cap on the tickets where you could only get 4, but we have a group of like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
And the Ticketmaster also prevented me from getting tickets because I don't know if it's Ticketmaster or the Wi-Fi, whatever, but it wouldn't let me because it thought I was a robot. Because
Dang.
I'm on campus Wi-Fi. I'm like, I am
You're
not a robot. But that sounds like something a robot would say. So they weren't convinced. So that was frustrating. So I think that there's just a Ticketmaster and the artists, whoever make it so expensive, are making it really hard for music appreciating people to go enjoy live music, and that is very frustrating. And so in the meantime, I'd say please don't sell your kidneys to go see any artist.
Yeah.
But if you
No,
have
you
the
need those.
opportunity to go
Or at
see
least one of
someone
them, right?
yeah, you don't need the other. But but I would definitely say if you'd like, go concerts, but also the local shows.
Yeah.
That's where it's at too.
Don't
Sure.
waste your money. And speaking of waste, waste clearance firm named Lord of the Bins. Aw, that's a cute name, but too bad it's a legal problem because it's been ordered to change its name by the Lord of the Rings lawyers. That's sad. Could you imagine like having like the whimsical energy to name a business Lord of the Bins and you get sued for it? That's so awkward. So yeah, a two name, it only has one name. A 2-man waste management company in the UK has been ordered by the Middle Earth Enterprises Lord of the Rings franchise to change its name after they make claims customers could confuse that they were endorsed by or affiliated to Lord of the Rings. In a letter sent to the owners by law firm Simmons and Simmons, acting for Middle Earth Enterprises, they were also told to stop using their slogan "One Ring" to remove it all. And to cease all use of the Lord of the Bins name. Owners Nick Lockwood and Dan Walker hit back, saying, quote, they claimed customers could confuse that was endorsed or affiliated to Lord of the Rings. Anyone in their right mind knows we're completely separate and non-competitive business. Regardless of what we and our customers think, we now have to, and this is the continued quote, regardless of what we and our customers think, we now have the prospect of spending thousands of pounds, another British in chat, and effort rebranding to appease a multi-billion-pound company.
I mean, yeah.
They're gatekeeping on such a good pun.
But it's also like took something out of the playbook of Lord of the Rings. And you can't do that in World Cup.
I feel like they have a point though. Like, who's going to affiliate Lord of the Rings with that?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, if you're gonna name your company Lord of the Bins, I mean, like, what do you think was gonna happen? You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
I mean, yeah, I remember some time ago we covered a story where a flower shop with the similar name to Guns N' Roses, the band, named itself like Guns N' Roses and something, I guess, like some Guns N' whatever. And Guns N' Roses said, no, you can't do that because that's kind of stealing our name.
Yeah, you're stealing our vibes.
Even though like they have
stay away from my vibes, man.
Yeah. Even though they have like a lot of money already, like just copyright, man. Copyright.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I feel like I see this a lot. You know? Like I think about like all the I don't know. I feel like I see this often where stores are named after puns and like I guess I don't know. This is something I care about a lot, like the use I don't care about store names, but like just general, like the idea of creative ownership over something. And I think that the right to, pay homage to something and to reference something is really important. But yeah, I don't know. I could also really see like how if your property is being used to sell stuff specifically, that is something that you can take issue with. So yeah, actually, like, I don't know. It's hard to say when it comes to these big franchise stuff, but if somebody's using your art to sell stuff, I feel like
that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad.
You should be able to say like, no, don't do that.
Especially with the franchise like Lord of the Rings, it's so well popular. I know some people, like Elizabeth, haven't seen it. Neither have I.
No, I've never
so,
seen
but
it.
I
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it.
it
But like
That's
it is,
good
it is,
movies.
it is such a big
Good
fran-
books.
Yeah,
You know?
it is such a big franchise. And if you if you name something Lord of the Bins, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
you are using it.
Yeah,
You have a
they
point.
technically are.
I'm sure like if they make a similar name, like their names are Nick Lockwood and Dan Walker. So Lockwood and Walker something, Lockwood and Walker
Walk that
recycling
trash
or like
away.
management, and then
Lock,
yeah,
lock and walk recycling.
exactly. Like
Recycling.
you just made the business. It's like if they make that and they're like consistent customers, reliable customers,
Yeah,
then
unless it's like a Sopranos waste management thing. in which
See,
case-
if I was them, I would have at least been like, well, if you want me to change it, then you should like pay for it to be changed, pay for all the effort that I have to put into now
But
yeah,
changing
also-
I
everything.
wonder if they'd be able to do the legal leverage for that. But then, if
Yeah.
they did go down that route, they'd have to kind of lower up to like this massive corporation.
They could also get sued, which is a possibility.
yeah, copyright.
Yeah. No, I was gonna bring this up, but yeah, it sounds like another company that's actually not far from us called Darth Vapor. You can guess what they sold. It appeared very quickly. Right? Because like when you mess with these huge companies and their intellectual property, they're gonna bring the boot down.
Mhm.
Which, whether it's right or not, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So on that cheerful note, this brings us to the end of the morning buzz. Thank you so much for listening and for hanging out with us. As always, joined by Aidan Ivers,
Yes, thank you, listeners.
Elizabeth Godoy,
Thank you.
Emo McCormack. And
Calicia.
George Galaxy.
thank you so much. This has been 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Have a good morning.